Hi, I'm Dr. Cindy with the Positively Altered podcast. I am a chiropractic internist and nutritionist, and we love to discuss all things health related, sometimes with an interesting spin. And today is no different. Today, my guest has been through some pretty big challenges. She considers herself an orphan from early on. After losing two parents, she skidded around from family member to family member and eventually landed living by herself in New York and making her way, and then being challenged through some pretty severe chronic illnesses, and is now a functional nutritionist. It's so interesting when you learn about somebody's journey and how they're resilient in order to overcome, and then they turn around and help others do it. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to listen to a couple commercial breaks, and then I will introduce you to my next guest who is going to inspire you with even just some simple things you can incorporate into your life.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? Welcome back to the Positively Altered podcast. I am excited to introduce you today to Danielle Pashko, who has an amazing story, an amazing journey, and an even more unbelievable outcome. And we're going to hear about that. Danielle, welcome to the podcast.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
This is so great. So, usually we're fueled in this space of healthcare by a good story, right? And most of us have that story. Let's just jump in. I want you to share, because you've kind of got a little bit of a laundry list of challenges in your few decades on this earth, right? That led you to this path. Share with us, give us some backgrounds. Give us, I always say, the sob story that we're going to turn into an amazing story, right?
I got it. Yeah. So most people begin in this field because they had something personal happen to them. A lot of times people think that my health crises that I had brought me into this field. It wasn't that. I had a very sick mother when I was a child, and she had breast cancer when she was 31 years old. And what she started doing for her own health was she started practicing visualization, meditation, following a macrobiotic diet, using homeopathic remedies, and following people like Louise Hay, who did a lot of affirmations, and Dr. Bernie Siegel, who wrote Love, Medicine, and Miracles, and Dr. Caroline Myss, Anatomy of the Spirit. And unfortunately, she did not make it. Medicine was much different back in the 90s. and she ended up passing, but she left me with these amazing books that were all about health and spirituality. And I think that fueled me to decide that I wanted to work in this world because I wanted to help other people and I wanted them not to suffer like my mother. So that's what happened. I ended up getting certified as a polarity therapist and Reiki therapist when I was 18. Then got my massage license, my yoga certification. I got a certification in somatic therapy. I got a degree in nutrition. I did so many things in the functional health wellness world. And then I got sick.
It brings me back a little bit, and I'd love to share your concept. I joke, although it's not funny, because the term functional health and functional wellness and functional practitioner is now so common. And I actually don't love that term because I'm not even sure people really understand what that means. What does functional mean to you? So, you got handed all this great information, and how does that morph into that word functional health?
Well, functional, as I understand it, when I've been working in the practices, it's like taking a deep dive into health more than just looking at the regular lab. So let's say you go to your traditional allopathic doctor and the lab testing they may do a lipid panel, which is checking for your cholesterol, or they do a glucose panel, which is checking for blood sugar or prediabetes or diabetes, or they're looking, and maybe they'll look at your thyroid and things like that. But what ends up happening is when a lot of people start to develop chronic symptoms, those things may be overlooked because the testing is not as specific. When you go into a functional medicine practice, they're looking everywhere. They're looking for root causes. They're doing a deep dive into the labs. They may look at viral panels, and they may look at deeper into your hormones and things that sometimes are often missed. So it looks like from the outside, well, of course, I mean, we should all go functional, go functional medicine world, because they cover a lot more bases. So why not do that? Because it seems like there's more that is going to be found, and you're going to have answers. And sometimes that is the case, and sometimes it's not.
So when you say you got sick, were you already in this space where you were using functional medicine even for your own healthcare? And yet
I was working in an amazing clinic with Dr. Jeffrey Morrison, if you know him. In the early 2000s. And I was doing nutrition. And that's when I first got thyroid cancer. And it was hard to even notice working in the clinic until I knew enough when I had getting my thyroid work done to start looking at things like Hashimoto's and looking for antibodies. And, I knew enough to start looking for those things. And then we found out it was more than just Hashimoto's. I did have thyroid cancer. Mm-hmm. But yes, I was working in a clinic at the time.
So did you feel lousy first and then you saw the lab results follow, or the opposite?
I did feel lousy first because at that point I was super athletic. I was also, besides working in the clinic, I taught Ashtanga yoga. I taught at Sports Club LA, Reebok, Equinox, the Peninsula Hotel. I taught everywhere. I was a super yogi, was up before dawn, basically doing my practice. I was a vegan. And all of a sudden I'm like, I feel terrible. I lost tremendous amount of weight. I'm 5'10". I went down to 109 pounds. Mm-hmm. I felt like I had spastic colon, my stomach. I was having all these digestive issues. I had complete insomnia. And I'm like, what's going on here? So yeah, there was a lot of things happening before it was uncovered. So it's one of the 3 mystery illnesses that I had that took a while to diagnose.
Okay. So I think that's a really interesting point that people understand, is sometimes we don't feel good and the lab work doesn't always reflect exactly what it is at that moment in time. Doesn't mean you're crazy or something isn't wrong with you. It just means we don't have the answers to give you the label yet. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So thyroid cancer, which is not a very common cancer, really.
Now it is. You would be surprised. I've seen it so much, especially in young women, like 30 and under.
Now, do you think some of that is being induced by some of the choices that we're making?
Absolutely. I think the choices we're making, I think also environmental issues. I think I wonder about, all this radiation that's around us, EMFs, who knows? I don't know. But I mean, I've just seen so many cases of it in young people, especially women. I'm baffled.
Okay.
And I was 30. So, that's pretty young to have any kind of cancer.
It's very young. And, it is interesting. We are seeing, I think, overall the incidence of cancer in younger people. And I think your point is very well taken. We live in a pretty toxic environment.
Yeah.
And we're pretty stressed out. And, we can go down that rabbit hole, of course, of listing all those things without, one definitive mistake that we've made to get us there. I think it's a series of experiences that get us. get us there. Okay. So thyroid cancer. So now what, you've got this scary diagnosis, right?
Right.
Now where do you go?
So at first I was trying to go to all these alternative people. I was doing, I believe in Chinese medicine, and I actually take Chinese herbs, and I think it's great. But, I thought maybe I can deal with this with Chinese herbs, or maybe I can go to a healer, or maybe no, I had to get it removed. I am not against allopathic medicine. I want to be clear with that. I think there's a place for it, and so I had my thyroid removed, and I did have radiation. That was the course that I took. And actually I had no symptoms as soon as I did that. I thank God I bounced back 100%. So I was back. I was happy. I was so thrilled. I wrote a book called Smile at Your Challenges. And, because I had a weird childhood and then having this cancer thing. And I thought, like, you think about all the tests you have in life, and I'm a very spiritual person. And I believe that you have a journey, and you're tested with certain things. And a lot is about the way you cope. And I thought, like, yay, look at me. Now I'm 31. I already had cancer. I lost my parents. Like, I'm so brave. And then it's like, be careful what you say, or you think you have it all figured out, because you may just have to learn more lessons in life. And the next lesson came 7 years later, which was Lyme disease.
So do you remember being bit by the tick? Were you okay? Nope. So walk us through that.
And that's why it became chronic. And there's a misconception about Lyme that people think you have to see this bullseye rash or see a tick physically on your body to have Lyme disease. And I never did. And I started having these weird symptoms for a year, like blurred vision, vertigo, just feeling very lightheaded, just like a sense of overall, like, being unwell. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And in the clinic I worked in, I took a Lyme test because I thought, okay, I don't see the bullseye rash, but I know enough to, like, let me check for Lyme. Didn't come up. So I had to even test further to actually find it. And that's why people are walking around with Lyme disease and they're having these mystery symptoms. And if they just take one test, sometimes it's not enough. So unfortunately, it took a while to find it. And once I did find it, it became chronic. And then it took quite a while to start to do the things to heal from that. And thank God, within about a year and a half, I got back to like my 90%. It's really hard to bounce back 100% from chronic Lyme, but I would tell you I was good. So I'm like, all right, I passed this test. I got through the Lyme. And then, like, this is 2018, this is all going on. And now it's 2020. I'm feeling good. It's COVID, but I'm like, whatever, I can beat anything. And I got this mild case of COVID. Like, it was during the Delta variant, which is strong, but it didn't hit me that hard. And then COVID passed. I finished a 10-day period and I felt like I had Lyme on steroids. And I was like, wait, this is worse than the original Lyme. Like, what? It was like Lyme and thyroid cancer and like other things. It felt like it was all combined into one big disaster. And I was like, how is this happening to me again? And then I really was in a dilemma.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes we keep getting those lessons over and over, right? And
ridiculous.
Yeah, and nobody wants them, but there's something to that. You mentioned something interesting. I'd love to dive in a little bit if you're willing, and that was, this weird childhood. Will you share with the audience a little bit of background? Because I really do believe that sometimes our strength comes from some of those experiences when we're younger, and
Absolutely.
Maybe there was something in your past that really helped you get through some of these chronic diseases.
Well, I was always super resilient. So my parents divorced when I was a little girl. And then my mother passed away when I was 13. And I didn't have a relationship with my father, and I didn't really have many relatives. So I bounced around to a few different relatives until I was 16. And then I was living in New York. I got a roommate in high school when I was 16 years old. And then when then my senior year of high school, I ended up getting my own apartment in Manhattan and paying rent. I was working in nightclubs and modeling to like pay my bills. And so I was like doing work study. I would go to school from 7 to 10 in the morning. And then I would either go on castings or do a job. And then I would like work in nightclubs as like a hostess at night, a bartender, cocktail waitress when I was underage, just to pay my rent. So yeah, it was kind of not typical.
It's interesting. And I bet there's some young people out there going, wow, that sounds like a great party.
The crazy thing is, I had no sympathy for myself. Like, as much as I was like, I don't even have parents and I don't have brothers and sisters and I don't have family, like so many people would be like, oh my God, like poor me. I thought I was like living my best life. I was like, I live in the city. I'm out. I'm like, I thought I had this great life, but I never went to therapy. I never dealt with it. It was just sort of like, that was my normal. And then I like looked at other people around, like I'm, with my husband now, and I look with his children and like how their life is like, so like seems so normal, the family seems so normal. So I think it was kind of dysfunctional.
Isn't that interesting? And yet I think normal is all relative,
Yeah,
you had your own normal.
exactly.
You had your
But
own.
I think I didn't deal with a lot until later in life when I started dealing with all these health challenges. It was like I was remembering things from my past, and I got really sad. And like, I feel like all this stuff was like coming to surface that I had just sort of suppressed and didn't care about. And then I was like, I feel like there's such a relationship between trauma, things like autoimmunity, things like how we handle things like chronic health issues, and that's why I'm so fascinated by the doing work and working with the nervous system, and because I find that the emotions are so connected to our well-being. And I was like militant about my clean diet, my clean eating, my yoga practice, everything that like every influencer like talks about, like, oh, my green juice, or like just do this, or stay away from all toxins, you'll never get cancer. Like that would be great. And I think you should live the most toxin-free lifestyle, but you can't obsess over these things, because I obsessed, like the term is called orthorexia, which is like an unhealthy habit with like healthy living. And I was a full-blown orthorexic, and look how sick I got. So I just said, I just need to like live life and be joyful and be appreciative of the things I have, because we don't know what curveballs are going to come, and you just need to live. It's getting crazy with all the people so obsessed with biohacking and going overboard and all this restriction. I'm like, wow, like just be happy you're healthy and stop being crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I walked through my own journey of Hodgkin's lymphoma 11 and a half years ago. And, at first when you get sick, right, you do the why me, and what did I do to deserve this, and how come? And right, you ask all those, I think,
Yeah.
important questions. And what I came to realize, I know for myself, is that there was a reason, right? And I'm actually grateful for the reason now, because it allowed me to slow down and reevaluate and relook and change some things. And I'm still not perfect, and I still don't avoid all toxins. I don't know how, we always laugh at my practice.
Yeah,
When I teach somebody, I'm like, if I teach you to be perfect, you're dead, because I have nothing left that you could eat, drink, breathe, or experience.
absolutely.
So we have to pick our evils. But there's no doubt in my mind that the emotional component of what I went through gave me a reset. And I'd love to, talk about that a little bit, because I know you tried lots of things to help you get through your chronic illness that actually didn't work, that still have value out there in the world. But
Definitely.
you really found a path that altered quite dramatically for you, your outcome. And I'd love to, let's share that a little bit and dive deeper into the nervous system, because I think it's an untapped area for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So a lot of the therapies I was doing, I mean, just to give you an example of some of the things, some of the smaller things were like peptide therapy. Some of the peptides I would have injected in me, like thymosin alpha A or BPC 157 or KPD or KVP peptide. I'm trying to even remember. I did so many peptides. Also, I had IV therapy every week with NAD. I was also doing like a blood apheresis, which is like it's almost like dialysis, but you're doing it with ozone. So I was doing 10 pass ozone. I had like 2 catheters in my veins, and it was going through, and it's 10 pass ozone. I did EBO2. I did neurofeedback, biofeedback, about 60 hyperbaric oxygen sessions. I had a nurse come to my house every week and give me IV immunoglobulin therapy. I can't even, acupuncture, of course. I saw multiple neurologists. I did so many things. And what I can tell you is I was a wreck. If I was so freaked out, like you talk about the nervous system, and you talk about the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight. And then there's the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest. So many people, they're able to fluctuate between sympathetic, you have a stressor, you go up and you're a little anxious, but then you can bounce back to the parasympathetic and relax. I didn't know what that was. I felt like I was just so freaked out and so dysregulated with my nervous system, which is so common with people who were struggling with something, that when that happens, it's so hard for you to be able to detox when you're doing these aggressive therapies. So for a perfectly healthy person, if they were to do the 10 pass ozone or hyperbaric or infrared sauna or red light or whatever, they would say, wow, I feel really well because they're healthy and they're regulated and they can handle that and there's no issue. But for someone who is so sensitive to everything and also has developed something called mast cell activation syndrome, which is very common in the chronic illness community. We are sensitive to everything. So we do these treatments or take these supplements that are maybe healthy for a healthy person, but for us, it can actually backfire. So I threw the grenade approach at myself, like I'll try everything to be well. And actually it made me sicker.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then I think you get a bum rap, right? So all of these different therapies that you tried all have value, and yet somebody could say, well, clearly that's all nonsense then, right? Like it doesn't work. And that's not always true.
And they're not nonsense. It was just that if I think about the amount of money spent, thank God I worked in a clinic, so some of it was covered, but still tens of thousands of dollars. Like we're not talking about like $5,000. We're like, $70, $80, $90,000 worth of therapies.
Right.
And I found healing in such a different way after I did all of that it was like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have started here, but I guess I had to learn that, as part of my journey.
So what kept you from giving up?
I looked at my life from the past, and this is where my spirituality comes in. And I thought, if I do believe in God, and I think everyone is given a test in this world. I believe they choose this incarnation of their body that they decide to be. And I thought, why would I have had all of this stuff going on in my childhood, and even the thyroid cancer and all of these challenges at such a young age, for me just to like die? Because I felt like I could have died. That's how sick I was. And I'm like, I don't believe that's what God wants for me. Like, why would I have to go all through this and then just like say bye? I feel like if anything, I think when we are given those challenges, but we also have gifts in the world, we have to recognize our gifts. And my gift always was that I was a good communicator. I related to people and I worked in the health field. So I understood things to be able to articulate. And I thought like, I almost made I made a deal with God, and I said, if you help me, like I promise I will dedicate my life to sharing and helping other people in the situation. And that's like really what I felt. And I just stood by that. And then I said, okay, well now I need to figure out how to get to my healthy place. But I was convinced that there was a purpose here.
So we have to narrow down, right? We've got to pick and choose now and come down with a really specific path for you to get well. What was it that did that for you?
So there's a lot of these programs which are for nervous system regulation, and they probably do work for some people. There's DNRS, there's the Gupta program, there's Primal Trust, there's all of these out there. I tried a few. I like the idea of it, but I still wasn't getting to where I needed to be. So I said, okay. I remember I used to practice visualization and meditation with my mom when I was like 11, and I still kind of did these practices over the years. So I just said, and I listened to a lot of Joe Dispenza, and I said, he can do it. I'm not Joe Dispenza, but I'm going to do my best to go into visualization. So that's what I started doing every day when I wasn't feeling well. And in my visualization, this sounds kind of silly because I started visualizing myself doing Kung Fu. Now, I never practiced Kung Fu in my life. I was always this yogi, but when I was growing up with my father, we would always watch these like martial arts movies, and I saw all these random ones from like the 70s and 80s. And I started practicing the movements in my head during my visualization. And Joe Dispenza always talks about mental rehearsal. So I didn't like think about like, oh, I'm going to take this to get better. And then I'm going to get like, I just went right into what is a solution? I'm a martial artist, right? But like, I didn't know how to do martial arts, but I do this whole practice in my head for about 20, 30 minutes a day. And I come out of it and I'm like, well, what now? Like, so I said, what's the closest thing to martial arts that I can do that is not going to completely drain me because I have no energy and my balance is off because I'm so dizzy all the time because I also had POTS. So I started with Tai Chi. I found an amazing teacher. His name is Sifu Gary Tong. And he started practicing with me in the park. I mean, I was so out of it that I wouldn't even take a class with a bunch of seniors because I felt too weak. So he practiced with me in the park several days a week. And we started working on the elements like grounding, being in nature. So it was like very good just to be outside and have that. And he was very compassionate and slow with me. And then we started doing these exercises to build up the chi, which is the life force in the body. And he would start me off just with simple things like intestine exercises where we're like working on or hitting the stomach and working on the intestines, or body tapping, working on waking up all the organs. And just with that was kind of a start. And then we started moving into some of the Tai Chi forms. And week by week, my vestibular issues, which were my issues with balance and vertigo, started to disappear. And I started to have a lot more energy and felt more grounded. And the problem was I was not grounded at all. I felt so like just not stable. And I started to get more grounded and started to get more energy, and I started to flow with these movements. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. But then I had also told him how I also loved Kung Fu and my visualizations. And he said, I think you could start practicing. And about within 4 months of the Tai Chi, I also started practicing Wing Chun Kung Fu. That's how much I built up from doing these type of internal martial arts, which seems like, how is that even possible? But it was such a game changer for me. There were some other things I did too as well, but I think because I started with that, the other therapies I did at the same time, I think took better because I was more stable and I was stronger.
That's so great. And you still practice it today?
Oh my God, my life has become martial arts. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty neat. Now, I know you mentioned helping others and communicating with people, and I'm fascinated. You wrote a book called Weight Loss Mistakes Even Healthy Chicks Make. I want to spend a few minutes there. Like we're all screwing it up, right? I mean, I don't know what's going on in the world of weight loss, because I definitely have an opinion with some of the things that are going on, but give us, what are some of the top mistakes that even healthy, because I think healthy is relative, right? Some of us think we're making healthy choices and we're not always, but what do you see common mistakes are that we're making that we could change?
So I wrote this book over 10 years ago, and I still find that people are making the same mistakes. I think one of the biggest issues is overeating health foods. I think that people think if something is healthy, then like you just can eat unlimited portions. So let's say, for example, avocados, great healthy fat, they could be good for your skin. I mean, there's lots of benefits, but it's like, you can't eat like avocado toast all day and like you're going to gain weight. Like have it in moderate in moderation. You can have your avocados or like smoothies. I mean, it seems like common sense, but a lot of people don't realize all the different multiple ingredients they're putting in their smoothies. Or even like a salad. It's like, look at a Cobb salad, for example. It's like so many ingredients. So if you just had a salad that was one protein, maybe a piece of grilled chicken, and then you had a lot of low glycemic vegetables in there, that's a great choice. But if you're having a salad and you're having chicken, and then you're having egg, and then you're throwing in bacon, and then you're putting in cheese, and then maybe throwing some edamame and some other stuff, you're having your 1,300 calorie salad, and then you throw in your dressing on top. It's like people are just, not really thinking they're doing the wrong thing, but it's a problem. Or they think the other issue is if you exercise, you can kind of eat whatever you want. And it's like, that's the other issue. Like the clients that I've worked with in the past, they're not the kind that are like the burger and fries eating crowd. They know better. They go to Berries, they go to Equinox and Soul Cycle, but then their portions are so big. So I'm like, take a picture and show me what you're eating. And I'm like, you're not a bodybuilder. You don't need to be eating like that. So I think it's just the overeating a lot of the health foods, or thinking exercising doesn't mean you don't have to watch.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? I know one of the things that I learned walking through menopause, which has not been kind to me, even though, I help a lot of others through it, is it wasn't even, and exactly to your point, I'm a very healthy eater and I love my fats. I love my avocado and my salmon and my eggs and my coconut. And when I really looked at my macros, I was over consuming, in that macro space, too much fat, all healthy foods.
Right.
And not only was I gaining weight, I couldn't lose weight, but I was also actually getting crabby. It was affecting my mental state as well, just because I was over consuming healthy foods. It's really fascinating, and not that you trade it in for the McDonald's, right? You don't, but
right. Exactly.
You don't go back to unhealthy just because of that. But I think to your point, it's really important. In this country, I think most of us overeat just in general, whether it's good food or bad food.
Absolutely. Like that's the thing about Europeans. I mean, like I love dessert, and I love cheese, which is so for me, I was dairy free for many years, and this is maybe a little bit off topic, but I found that I didn't digest a lot of the nut milks very well, like the almond milk with the lectins and the rice milk, soy, all of that kind of stuff. Forget about oat milk. I would never even touch that. But I actually do better. Like for me, if I have my coffee, like I'll have a little bit of half and half in it. Like I feel well. I can have a little bit of brie that's like really good quality, and I feel great. But like I will, when I'm in Europe, it's like definitely I'll have cheese, I'll have, my olives. If I have like a little taste of bread, and I'll have my dessert, but it's all small. Here, you look at people are like, oh, I made a healthy version of a dessert. And it's like, oh, it's made with agave instead of sugar, or it's gluten-free. But then like in the gluten-free process, instead of having good, quality grains that also have some fiber in them, which help to regulate your blood sugar. It's like, it's made with, rice flour, or it's made with these type of very glycemic flours that raise your blood sugar. And it looks healthier because it's gluten-free, but it's not. It's actually more caloric. It's more carbohydrates. Your blood sugar becomes more dysregulated. And you're like, but that was a healthy dessert. No, it wasn't. Just eat the real thing. Have a little bit of gelato if you want. It's like, I'm about moderation and about eating real foods. I don't believe in fake foods.
But Danielle, when we justify it, then it's better.
Yeah.
Then it's better. It doesn't count when
Right.
we justify it. Absolutely.
Right.
Oh my gosh. All right. Real quick. We're going to take a commercial break in a few seconds. But before we do that, give me, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 then of your favorite tricks besides cutting back on portions that you love to help people with that we can incorporate in our life.
So besides cutting back on portions, I would say tricks. Are you talking about like weight loss or overall in general?
Just life, like feeling good. Give me some favorites in order to
So feeling good, I think starts with the morning. I think we really need to be consistent with our rituals, and you can't just roll out of bed and have like a coffee and just like head off to work, or you shouldn't check your emails first thing in the morning. Like for me, my mornings are sacred and I give myself extra time for that. So I think that sets the tone for the day. So like getting up, stretching. We all, like most of us, know about going outside, getting some sunlight. I have a dog, so it forces me to get up. I go right outside, get my sunlight. I don't wear my sunglasses. I feel like it really does help. Then coming back and I do some stretching. I do say affirmations in the morning and I pray. Like that's my morning routine. I feel balanced. And then at that point, if I want to have my breakfast and have a matcha or a coffee, I think it's okay. But I'm not like starting off hot where I'm just like, and then I like run into hectic day. So I think it's good to have rituals. So that's one. Another thing is just like taking the time to do these practices, which are more like we talk about the nervous system, but even besides the morning, like get into a meditation practice, like try to focus on finding things that can help to calm you. Like whenever I have time, I love grounding. So I spend a lot of time going outside. I'm in New York City, but behind me, there's a great park. And like, I do my Qigong exercises barefoot whenever I can find time. And that like is really good for my head. Limiting screen time, I think, is very important for us. I think we're overstimulated with all the screens, computers, phones. I think it's not good for our brain. It's not good for our eyes. It's just, we're not meant to be like, it's too much. So I think we need to limit our screen time. And also, I think we need to prioritize sleep. A lot of people, especially, sleep is the best. If you do not sleep, I don't care how many things you do for your health, poor sleep quality is going to mean poor health. So I cherish my sleep. So I really try to make an effort to wind down at night, turning off the electronics, like getting off my TV, no more social media after, 9:30 p.m., like maybe reading a book. I also do some Qigong stuff that helps me to sleep. And I find that's important as well to set off your day.
I love it. All right. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And here's what I think. So most of the listeners are we've missed the morning, but we can certainly set intention for tomorrow so we can start the day. You can't turn off the social media because we got a few more minutes left with Danielle. But what you can do is listen to the rest of the Southside Barefoot. So go take off your shoes, get grounded. We're going to listen to a couple sponsors. And then Danielle, we're going to do a couple rapid fire questions. You up for that?
Yep.
All right, everybody. Barefoot, we'll be right back. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. stop, hit that follow button now and spread the love with Positively Altered. Welcome back. All right, everybody's barefoot, ready to go. We're feeling grounded. We're going to have a little fun with Danielle. Some rapid fire questions. I just want to see what you're going to say. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, here we go. What is one article of clothing you wish you never ever had to wear again?
Oh gosh, article of clothing. I mean, I have to wear, but I hate wearing a bra.
Oh,
It's comfortable.
I'm pretty sure most of the women out there would probably
Yeah.
agree with you. Are you like you get home and it comes off immediately?
Immediately. I can't. Yeah. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I joke that as I get older, because I get shorter as I get older, I get a little more rounder as I get older too, and I have very large breasts, that I'm going to create shoes that have cups in them that can just hold my breasts when I walk, because eventually they're going to be that low and we can get rid of the bra. I don't know if there's a market for that.
Let's hope not.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. All right. If you had to pick a place to live that was at least 100 miles away from where you currently live, what would you pick?
Sedona.
Ooh, love that. Have you been there recently?
Recently, I love it. It's like, oh, it just, have you been there?
I have multiple times.
It's like, wow, I was mind blown. It's my first time and I want to get a place there.
Sedona actually used to be my favorite place on earth until the McDonald's showed up in the outlet malls. I was a little upset that we there now, they've commercialized it a little bit. And yes, when you get deep, you can eliminate that, but it sort of bummed me out that, like, why is there a McDonald's? And sorry if anybody owns a McDonald's, but I just don't think Sedona was the place for that.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, if you could pick any superhero or cartoon character to be, what would you pick?
Wonder Woman.
See, we're kindred spirits. That's
too?
my spirit superhero as well, Wonder Woman.
Totally.
Yeah, the Hulk scares me, and that whole green thing doesn't work out for me. So I definitely went for Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Maybe one of the Marvel characters, but yeah.
Absolutely. All right. If you had to pick living on an island, in a skyscraper, or a houseboat, what would you pick?
Like full time?
Yep, for the rest of your life.
Probably. God, that's a hard one. I wish I can live in a skyscraper on an island. I guess.
It's your rules, Danielle. So you can.
I know. It's like.
Let's make an exception.
At this point in life, I probably would. I'm a New Yorker, but I think I'm feeling nature these days. So I think I probably would pick the island for the second half of my life. Yeah.
Okay, and again, because this is all fictional, you can really put the skyscraper on the island if you want. I mean, just because I make up the questions doesn't mean you can't make up the rules.
Right. Exactly. No, I think I'll pick the island. Yeah.
All right. No, totally entitled. Totally entitled. Danielle, what was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
I love getting to know you, and just it's so great to just connect with different people and learn their stories and share yours. And there's things I felt like I learned today. So
great to have you. Now, if people want to find you, how can social media, email, how do we get a hold of you? How do we learn more about what you do or get your help on some of our health journeys? Where do we reach out?
So my website is soulhacker.com, soulhakker.com. And then my Instagram is at the Soul Hacker with 2 Ks.
I love that. We'll make sure that's in the show notes as well. Danielle, it's been an absolute pleasure. This has been great. I know that, as much as I understand the nervous system, chiropractor and all, being grounded and setting intention in the morning, I certainly can do better. And you have absolutely inspired me to reevaluate. And I will tell you right now, underneath the desk I'm sitting at, I am barefoot, but it's on.
I have a grounding mat underneath my feet right now.
So smart. Mine are in a foot massager. Not quite the same thing.
Okay, that's not bad. That's
not quite the same thing, but still taking care of my feet. But the sun is shining. I'm going to get outside when I'm all done and get a hold of the earth, because it's just so important. And I really appreciate, just the simple reminders, because they really are simple things to incorporate. It's absolutely great. And whenever you're on this health journey, no matter how chronic or simple it seems, don't give up, right? There's always an option. There's always something that can be done. And you can reach out to people like Danielle to help you on this health journey. And learning those things is absolutely one of my favorite things about doing the Positively Altered podcast. If you want to learn more about what's going on in my world, please feel free to reach out. You can send us an email at hello@drcindyspeaks.com or go to the website, drcindyspeaks.com. and check us out there. You can also subscribe to my not so daily newsletter. We would absolutely love to hear from you. You can pick up the book Positively Altered wherever you buy your favorite book, or certainly on Amazon. And make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever your favorite one is. We're around and we would love to connect with you. I hope everybody today who is listening has been positively altered.